What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shuggy from Shook Earth Media, and today we are back with The Walking Dead. Final season has returned. This is episode 9 of 24, part 2 of 3. They're doing the season in 8 episode chunks, so we've been waiting a while for the show to come back, and they had a cliffhanger that I was critical of last time, but just off the bat, just my total impressions, I like this episode. This is a great episode. It has a lot of fun action in it, a lot of great character moments. I think this episode's really strong, and how it ended with the cliffhanger at the end. We got a little flash forward to 6 months in the future, and we're setting up a Commonwealth versus Hilltop conflict, civil war thing. I'm super into it, so I think it's starting off strong right now. You know, you can watch my back catalog of reviews and see that I've been a little bit more critical of season 11 so far. This episode is maybe the best one. It's just a strong episode. I really enjoyed it. We start off with the fireworks things, and of course we got exploding zombies. And, that's fun. I thought this thing was a little goofy. I still think it's a little goofy, but you know what? That's the issue I have with the cliffhanger. Is like, oh, this is gonna be resolved in like a minute or two, and it pretty much is. So I don't know. I think this thing's a little goofy, so that hasn't changed my thoughts on it. And Maggie just kind of like shoves some zombies out of the way and runs to a little hiding spot. And that's another thing with the cliffhanger is, I mean, we're talking about the last episode, but the other problem with the cliffhanger is there were also Reapers in the mix. So, after all this talk about how much she cares about her family, she's putting them at risk to subdue the threat. So it kind of goes against the whole family angle. But like I predicted, 20 minutes, 30 minutes into this episode, we are done with the Reapers. They are gonzo. Leia's still around. So I knew that was what was going to happen. And you know what? I actually like this kind of cat and mouse dynamic we have in this episode. I'm not against the Reapers in this episode. I still have my misgivings about the storyline as a whole. But, I actually enjoyed that, and how, Maggie won this fight by pushing him into the crowd, and then he gets struck by a thing. It's very convenient, but it's fun, and it's one of those things where you set up something like that, you have to use it. So, makes total sense, and of course, you gotta have Maggie win the fight. So that was all good. And then it's this cat and mouse dynamic for the rest of the episode. And Maggie finds this, this is where they were staying before, so I guess she knows the area. But there's this, little hidden cubbyhole behind these shelves. This part, I was like, I understand why she would know that, but I'm just like, do the people know? And, there's a hole in it, so you would see that there's something behind it. I feel like they would know that this exists as well, the Reapers, that is. So yeah, I don't know, there's a hole in it that she peeks through. I mean, it's a fun idea, but if I saw that, I would investigate, you know what I mean? You can look through and see there's light back there, but that's just nitpicking. But I like this dynamic. Maggie's like, oh, we gotta wait till dawn, and then I don't know. It's just an excuse to have time pass. I don't know why waiting till daylight necessarily would help them in this case, but it's a fine premise. I wish I don't know. It didn't really make sense to me, but that's okay. And then we're back with the house that's getting flooded and all of that, and this part of the episode maybe was lesser to me, but I did enjoy the action. I mean, the stuff in the basement was really cool. We had a lot of water stuff, and I enjoyed overall, putting the kids in danger, and of course they're not actually gonna get hurt. Come on. But I did like the action scenes here. This is the one kind of disappointment I had with this part of the episode is in the previous episode, Aaron and Jerry and Carol and all of them, they just kind of left the house, and they're like, we're gonna go try to put the fire out and all this. And this is hours later, and nothing's really progressed. We just kind of pick up with them in the daylight, and they just kind of they're like, oh, we're gonna put out the fire in the windmill. I get why they can't do that budget wise, but I just feel like this whole subplot with putting the fire out, it just kind of gets thrown there in dialogue, and then we never see it happen. So and they're talking about patching the walls. We don't see that happen either. So not that that would be the most interesting thing. It's just like, I don't know. It just kind of felt a little underwhelming, this part. But like I said, I actually enjoy the tension here. The seeing everybody again. I have to remind myself. I actually really like this show. So, I do like it overall. And then we get like DARYL fighting this guy. We got that cat and mouse dynamic. DARYL wins a fight, and then Leia's on the other side of the door, and he has to keep him quiet. I mean, I like the brutal fights, and it's decent stunt directing in this episode, and I did enjoy how DARYL like snuck away basically. Leia getting all emotional about this is just like, I feel like she's the only one who gets emotional when a Reaper dies. Like nobody else in the Reapers actually cares, other than this guy's like for Pope when he's attacking DARYL, which is another reason like what if wouldn't they suspect her at some point? But we don't ever get into any of that, so that that's fine. But DARYL sneaks behind here, puts the whiteboard in the way, and he sneaks out. I like that little dynamic. Now, this stuff in the basement, I did enjoy this action stuff, and especially when we get the camera underwater, and, she thinks she killed the zombie, and then it comes up out of the water. That's all well and good, and I like that. Now we got Aaron, I forget the other girl's name, but the other girl had a whistle, and she heard, and Aaron heard it, and he comes running, and he's there to save them. And it just kind of conveniently cuts away from him in the window. So there's a lot of convenient cuts. Okay, so here he is. He's outside. I don't know if this is like filmed at different locations, the exterior and the interior. Probably. So that could be a reason why. But you could see just the convenient cut to, oh, now he's inside. And not only was he able to get in through the narrow window, but he was able to launch himself forward. The logistics of it, like watching it through in my head, I'm just like, yeah, they had to cut away from that because it wouldn't make sense. So there's a couple times when they do that. So it's a little nitpicky thing, but I really like this underwater stuff. He like squeezes the zombie's head. That's really cool. So we got some good stuff in the basement. And I like the water tank aspect. There's a insider at the end where they go over how they do this kind of stuff. And this is like a water tank, and the water's heated so that the kids don't get cold. It's like a balmy bath, they said. So, I like all that stuff, and it's fun to watch behind the scenes stuff about that. So now this part of the episode, I really dug this. Because previous episodes, I was like, I don't really know what's going on with Gabriel. I'm a little confused, like what's going on with his faith, and it feels like they're trying to say something, but I don't know what that is. This scene really crystallizes it, so it's a lot more comprehensible, and it makes the earlier stuff make sense. So I dig this scene. We have like a minister of the Reapers, and Gabriel. The minister says that he hears God, and Gabriel doesn't hear God, and he's struggling with his faith, and he sees this other guy who's very strong in his faith, but seemingly supporting a group who our group has made some terrible choices and had to commit violent acts and all that, mostly in self-defense for the most part. There's some exceptions, as we'll see later in this episode, but I think that the minister guy is clearly on a much more brutal side, and he tries to do the whole, oh, I'm non-violent and all that, and it's kind of hard to really take that seriously with a group where they hang people upside down and all that. So dealing with that contradiction here, and Gabriel discussing with him the struggle with the faith and all of that, I really like this scene, and it makes the Gabriel thing make a lot more sense. So I dig this part of the episode. And then like there's a moment where you're like, is Gabriel gonna let this guy go? And Gabriel makes the decision not to let him go and to stab him. He says he doesn't believe that he believes that some people are uh can't be saved, basically. So I don't know if I agree with that, but in the context of Walking Dead apocalypse, it makes sense. So I like this part, and then we get this fun scene with I think this guy's name is Carver or something, and we got him chasing Maggie. Maggie lets him think that he has her cornered. She tries to open doors and all that, and then it's an ambush. Negan comes out with the bat. Of course, we got to have Negan with the bat, and then Elijah, who I was calling Cole all last season, his name's Elijah. They're attacking? It's a great fight scene here. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and it's actually like it's a pretty believable 3-on-1 fight where they make him seem like an even match. So that's pretty well done on the stunt part. And of course, it helps that Elijah's injured, and of course, Carver uses that to his advantage. But I just like seeing Negan like on our side and fighting with us and stuff. And I'm a big fan of the Negan character at this point. I mean, I always kind of was, but I really like this dynamic here. So we got a good fight scene. Now there's the Elijah. Carver apparently killed Elijah's sister, who we saw 2 episodes ago at the end. And I said at the time that that didn't really land because we didn't have any connection with his sister. We barely have a connection with Elijah, to be honest. And that fell flat to me. And now they're trying to do the whole, you killed my father, prepare to die. My name is Elijah. You killed my sister, prepare to die. It falls a little flat, but it's really a minor thing. And really, if they set it up better, it would have played off. But it didn't really work. And then we got Negan coming in with the bell, and I absolutely love this takedown here. They came up with a clever way to finish the fight, and Negan gets to say ding ding, or he literally gets his bell rung. So I love this bit. Elijah distracts him by throwing something, and then Negan throws some water in his face and hits him with the bell. I really like that. Clong! That was fun, So I like this and then we get some tension between them here that's paid off later, and I really appreciate it. So really good stuff. And then DARYL is playing the peacemaker here. He wants to make a deal. He wants to use Carver, not kill him yet, but use Carver to have some kind of standoff deal thing. And I have a few criticisms of the upcoming scene here, but we'll get to that in a second. But I really like DARYL and Negan playing the role of peacemakers. It's really not what they would have done in the past. Although Negan always has justifications for when he does use violence, but it really it makes total sense. It really tracks, but it's interesting to see them at that point. I like it. So we got more stuff in the house. Lydia breaks out of a window and she comes in to help, and we got Aaron here. Aaron here was like climbing on these pipes, and just knowing how these pipes work, my cat used to walk on pipes like that, and I feel like even my cat was enough to like dislodge it at some point. So I knew right away. I was like, dude, that's a terrible idea. But it works cinematically, but like logically, it drives me a little nuts. But it's really okay. And actually, the sound design is great in this episode. Like the mixing and stuff. You get the sound of the storm. You get the zombies down below. You got the pipes. There's a lot of stuff going on in the audio track that I appreciate. That's just like something to throw in there. But then Lydia comes back with the rope, and again, they do a convenient cut, so you don't really see how that actually happened. But I do like this connection between Aaron and Lydia, where Lydia's like, you would have done the same thing for me, and then he's like, yeah, I would have. So that's cool. I like the Lydia character at this point. And here we are with the standoff situation, and I'm just thinking, like, our people are too smart for this at this point, because they had to meet up in a place where they clearly might not have the high ground, and there's a sniper in play, and they should have expected that. They already knew that there was like a sniper rifle going on. They knew that there's guns. It feels like there's only like 4 Reapers at this point, which is, again, they made the group. They wanted to make you think the group was way bigger, and then in this episode they look so small. But it's just like our people are too smart for this to be. They are knowingly in enemy territory, and they're like, yeah, let's meet in between 2 tall buildings where there could be people hiding in the windows. There could be people on the roof. There could be people behind us. They could be flanked, and they are flanked. So this scene kind of drove me nuts. It was like they should have just met somewhere open. There's a lot of ways to play this a little smarter. But I get what Daryl's trying to do. And I do like, again, him being the peacemaker and all that. So, I like this dynamic here, and then, it fails. And we set up Gabriel going up to the rooftop and taking out the sniper. Now, I wonder, Leia asks the sniper to do a warning shot, and then we find out it's Gabriel with the sniper. I wonder if Gabriel was the one who fired the warning shot, or if he took him out after that point. So I'm a little curious, because if it was him firing the warning shot, that it's kind of smart, but it's a little risky, but I do like it. So yeah, I like Gabriel with the sniper, and I think they heard some of my criticisms last time, because they had Gabriel looking down the sniper rifle with the proper eye. Now it's still like he really. It's kind of hard because his right eye's gone, right? But this time he was looking. A lot of times they had him looking like this with his bunk eye, but this time they had him looking like this. So I appreciate that. I don't know if they heard me, they're listening to me, but if they are, I appreciate it. But yeah, we're not gonna find that. But you guys, you can find it for yourself. Yeah. So, and then Maggie makes a brash decision here. And I was totally wrong in my trailer reaction. I was like, oh, it's probably different scenes cut together, with the Daryl being like, no, Maggie. And we got a knowing glance. Negan knows what's coming. He predicted this. He knew that she was always going to kill them all. And Maggie's been a little unhinged in this, in these past few, in this whole season so far. She's been a little unhinged. So I really like this, her taking it a step too far, going against like what the rest of the group wants her to do. At this point, what harm is like 3 of them, who disarmed, going away, but Maggie takes them all out. And I'm curious, is it like vengeance? Is it? I really doubt that it's her being like, oh, we need to do this because they might come get us later, even though that might be the logic she uses to justify it. It feels more like an emotional response to me. But yeah, Leia gets away. I'm assuming we haven't seen the last of her. But maybe we have, because Daryl chases her down and then decides to let her go, because of course he does. But yeah, I just dug this part. I mean, I really loved in The Walking Dead when we do the shady kind of moral stuff, and they've set it up with Maggie that she's unhinged in the season, and they paid it off well. So I like this little ending to the Reaper arc. So this ending works for me. Leia going off. I wonder what they're gonna do with her now. Maybe she's not gonna come back. I just don't feel like, I felt like they would have killed her off if they were gonna be done with her at this point, but maybe not. And then they're loading up the food and going back home. Now I predicted that we were going to lose the food on the way home, and then that was going to make us even more desperate for the Commonwealth. They didn't do that, so I was wrong. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised that I'm wrong. So I like that. Now we got Maggie going back to Alden? Is it Alden or Aiden? I forget. But I think it's Alden. And Alden, who they left injured in this church, he has turned. And it's a sad scene. And, I kind of thought they would go the comic route with this character, because Alden I forget if it's the same named character in the comic. I think it is, but it's somebody who was a savior, becomes a very trusted compatriot to Maggie, is like her number two, second in command at a certain point, and there's like a budding romance at the end, and it was really nice to see Maggie be happy after losing her husband. Uh, but the show doesn't want to do that. No happiness allowed. Maggie's not allowed to be happy. That's not okay. Now, here's one thing I'm like, what the fuck? Maggie's like reaching for. I get emotionally why she's doing it, but she's like grabbing a zombie. And that's the thing, like, the zombies don't always, especially in the spin-offs now, they're not always acting like how they should, because he should really be trying to bite her arm at this point. So that was just a little thing that bugged me. But it's an emotional scene. I like it, and I'm sad to see the character go. And I'm curious to see, I'm curious why they made the decision. Because we kind of set it up. I just kind of figured they would come back and he would be okay. But, we'll see. We'll see what goes on with Maggie, if that leads her down an even darker road. Because Alden, he was the first of the saviors to turn, and he was like, he's on board. He's more of a peacemaker as well. So he's somebody that could have held Maggie back a little bit, especially like if they did the whole romance thing. It could have really given some light to Maggie. Maybe that's why they killed him off, because they want Maggie to go down this darker route, which is curious to me, because I see the end point of where she was in the comic, and I won't necessarily spoil it, but I don't see her getting there with how dark of a path she's going down. So we'll see. And now we got the standoff with Maggie and Negan, and I really like this scene. The tension in it is great. Negan comes out there with the bat, and he calls her out. He's like, I knew you were always going to do that. You're, kind of a loose cannon at this point. And, he's right. So I love that we have two sides of an argument, and they both make sense, and we can understand both sides. And they set it up tension-wise, Negan coming in with the bat, and Maggie reaching for her knife, that they might have an altercation here. But Negan ultimately decides to turn around and leave, and he's not going back with them. And makes total sense. I think they set that up very well, and the Maggie and Negan relationship really is one of the best parts of the season so far. So, and I like how it ended. So I don't think we've seen the last of Negan. In the comic, Negan left the group and never came back, and we got a little cameo. He wasn't actually in it. We saw Carl leaving food or supplies for Negan outside his house, but we didn't actually see Negan, and that was the kind of ending that we got for Negan. But I'm curious to see how we're going to do it on the show instead. Of course, we don't have Carl, but I feel like we haven't seen the last of him. I mean, he's just one of the strongest characters in the show at this point. So I think he's going to be back. I hope he's going to be back. But we get this nice heart-to-heart where, they're talking about the choices that people make, and do they even matter, and and it's a little bit on the nose with the dialogue, but I get what they're going for. I just maybe a couple revisions could have made that a little stronger, but it worked. And then we get Maggie coming back and telling them what happened, and here we get a really nice reunion scene. We do a lot of these on the show, but it makes total sense that you would have to do this reunion scene. So I really like this reunion scene. So I really love when DARYL sees Connie and he drops the apples. Like, that's so nice. And we don't get, it's a dark show, but anytime we get moments of happiness, man, it hits you in the good spots. So we did so many reunions, and there's a lot of times where they were separating them and bringing them back together. It kind of became like a cliche, a meme, but this one feels earned, and it's a good scene, especially seeing DARYL and Connie, hugging and stuff. It's great. So I really enjoy it. And then we get Jerry at the top here, and I love how fierce he is in this scene. because, you know, Jerry's like very much kind of a comic relief character. He's a bit more than that now, and he's one I really like. But I love to see him with the determination, the strength, the you know, formidableness is that a word? But and then we got the Commonwealth pulling up, and you know, again, this standoff is really great. We got Eugene. I'm curious to see how Eugene got out of jail. Wasn't he in jail for punching the governor's son? Wasn't that what was happening? But you know, I really like this scene, and everything's really great. And then we got this guy here, you know, pitching to them the Commonwealth and how they can help, and they have a deal, an idea, and I really like the reaction to this guy, because they're looking at him like he's from a different planet, because he essentially is. I mean, he's all dressed up in a suit, he's looking nice. They're like, who is this guy? And of course, we're very fearful of strangers. DARYL looks skeptical, Maggie looks skeptical, everybody in this shot looks skeptical. So I really like the directing here. And then this transition, I really dig. This is the pan from DARYL to Maggie is the transition to the flash forward I was mentioning. And now we got Maggie 6 months later. You know, we got a hairstyle change, and we're back at the hilltop, even though it's also not in good condition. And DARYL and the Commonwealth pulls up. They're like, open up. Maggie's like, no, she is not about it. And then DARYL is the one taking point here, the Commonwealth soldier taking point. And I love it. I love it. We already saw DARYL as the stormtrooper in the trailer. I really like that we got this little teaser. I'm assuming we're not picking up after this. This is just a little teaser of what's coming, and setting up this Hilltop versus Commonwealth conflict, kind of civil war interfighting. Very interesting. It adds a new dynamic to the Commonwealth storyline, and they need to spice it up, make it a little juicier for the show. So I really appreciate it. So I'm really excited about where we're going, guys. I think this was an excellent episode. A really, you know, maybe it's not a top tier Walking Dead episode, but it's pretty dang good. Probably my favorite of the season. I like the Gollum dudes, but this one has more going on character-wise, story-wise. I think this might be my pick for best episode of season 11 so far. So we're starting off strong, and I hope that they can keep up the momentum. And if they can stick the landing with this Commonwealth storyline, I can purge the Reaper storyline from my memory and think good of season 11 overall. So if we can get past that and have a really good rest of the season, man, we might be golden. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm back in. I'm a huge fan. I always will be, even though there's episodes I might criticize. So that's where I'm at with this episode, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think is going to happen with the Civil War situation? Why do you think Maggie is so against the Commonwealth? What do you think is going on here? What did you think of the episode? Did you have any things that you noticed that I might have missed? Would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you want to see more Walking Dead content, we're going to be reviewing the new episodes every week, every Sunday, so be sure to hit that sub button. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Hit that like if you liked the video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.